Welcome, everyone, to a very special magical storybook explainer. Get ready, because today we're turning our screens into a spectacular theater production. We're going to step right inside a classic tale, meet some incredible characters, and uncover a few super secret, magical mysteries along the way. I'm so incredibly excited to guide you through this story, so let's get into it.
But before we raise the curtain, I want you to close your eyes for just a second and imagine this. What would you do if you went to sleep with a super messy room, and while you dreamed, your toys magically flew right into their toy boxes? What if your homework did itself with a dancing pencil, and when you woke up, everything was perfectly finished? Not by you, not by your parents, but by magic helpers. How incredible would that be? Well, that is exactly the kind of mystery we're exploring today.
Section 1. The Poor, Honest Shoemaker.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here we are in a quiet, slightly dusty workshop. Meet our main character, the shoemaker, and his wonderful wife. Now, the book tells us right away that he's an honest man, someone who always tells the truth. But he is very, very poor. He works as hard as he possibly can, but just look at him. He looks so sad and so tired, doesn't he? And right there on his empty work table is his very last piece of leather. It's only big enough to make one single pair of shoes. If he can't sell them, they won't have any money for food. He begins to work, cutting out the leather, but it's just so difficult. He says to his wife in this heavy, slow, exhausted voice, "My hands hurt. This leather is so hard that I have trouble cutting it. I am getting older every day, and it takes me too long to cut it." His kind wife tells him not to worry, to leave it till tomorrow and come have dinner. So he leaves the leather pieces right there on the table, says his prayers, and goes to sleep, just so worried about what the next day will bring.
Section 2. A Magical Morning Mystery.
The shoemaker hurries down to his shop the next morning, expecting to do the hard work of sewing that really stiff leather. But wait, look at his face. He is completely astonished. Sitting right there on his work table, the leather isn't in pieces anymore. No way! It's been transformed into a perfect, complete pair of beautiful shoes. He calls out to his wife to come quick. He didn't make them, they were just already there.
His wife runs in, looks at the table, and she yells out, "It's a miracle! They are perfect! You will get a lot of money by selling them." A miracle. That is a fantastic vocabulary word from our book. It means an unexpected, wonderful thing that happens. And she was absolutely right. And this brilliantly illustrates just how valuable these miraculous shoes were. The shoemaker places them in his showcase window. Right away, a customer comes in, tries them on, and says they're the most beautiful pair he's ever had. They fit perfectly. He pays the shoemaker 4 bright silver coins. Then, later in our story, a young man and woman come in to buy shoes for their wedding day. The man loves them so much that before the shoemaker can even name a price, the young man hands him a shiny gold coin.
Section 3. Growing Rich and Curious. Let's track this magic on our timeline to see how it adds up. On day 1, the shoemaker leaves enough leather for 1 pair and wakes up to 1 magical pair. He uses those 4 silver coins to buy enough leather for 2 pairs. On day 2, he wakes up and boom, 2 perfect magical pairs pop right into existence, just waiting for him. This pattern continues. From that day onward, he only has to cut the leather and leave it on the table. Over several months, he and his wife become richer and richer. But as you can imagine, they're getting very, very curious.
Section 4. Discovering the Secret Helpers.
The wife says, "I would like to know who is making the shoes." And the shoemaker totally agrees. So instead of going to bed, they make a sneaky plan. Now, I need everyone watching to be very, very quiet. Pretend you're hiding with them. Shh. We are going to hide behind the closet in the workshop tonight. We have to sit without making a single noise so we can see exactly who or what is making these amazing shoes. Now, what's really interesting about this is who enters the workshop. 2 tiny, cheerful elves. They run in, grab the leather, and start working incredibly fast, their tiny hammers swinging and needles flying in a blur of magic. Oh, and here is a super fun fact straight from the warm-up section of our book. Did you know that elves were actually called Alfar in Norse mythology? Yep, these little Alfar are working lightning fast to make beautiful shoes. But if you look closely, the elves themselves don't have proper shoes, and they look like they might actually be a little cold.
Section 5. A Perfect Thank You.
They decide they absolutely must do something for the elves in return. The wife says she'll make them some warm clothes to say thank you, and the shoemaker says he'll make them new shoes. So here's their master plan. Step 1. Stitch together tiny, warm, beautiful clothes. Step 2, craft the most perfect tiny shoes. And step 3, leave them all on the work table, hide right back behind that closet again, and wait for midnight to see what happens.
Midnight strikes. The elves enter the workshop, expecting to find leather to cut. But instead, one elf points and shouts, "Look, there are beautiful shoes here." The other says, "And there are beautiful clothes too. Let's try them on." They put them on, and they fit absolutely perfectly. The elves are so incredibly happy and warm, they're actually dancing and spinning with joy in their bright new outfits. They dance right out the door. Now, our book tells us the elves never came back, but the shoemaker and his wife lived happily ever after.
Section 6, Patience, Hope, and Vocabulary. Let's move to this next part and see how this builds our brains with some fantastic vocabulary so we can really master this story. Miracle, as we learned from the wife, means an unexpected, wonderful thing that happens. Honest is exactly what the shoemaker was. It means one who tells the truth. And a workshop is a place where things are made or repaired, just like where all the magic in our story happened.
So, the crucial point here is the core value of our story, patience and hope. When the shoemaker was at his lowest point, down to his very last piece of leather, he didn't give up. He stayed honest, he went to sleep with hope in his heart, and he had the patience to wait for a new day. And that patience and hope were rewarded in literally the most magical way possible. Which leaves us with one final, very important thought. The shoemaker and his wife didn't just take the magic, they said thank you by making those tiny clothes. So I really want to ask you, how can you show gratitude and say thank you to the secret helpers in your own life? Maybe it's a parent who packs your lunch, a teacher who helps you learn, or a friend who always makes you smile. Think about how you can be a little bit of magic in someone else's day. Thank you so much for joining me on this magical explainer journey. Keep reading, keep wondering, and I'll catch you next time.